to read you guys Jesus on the Cross in the Children's Bible. So these are why we put all these decorations, and we're going to act out the story. We put Jesus on the cross, his last meal, and Jesus is alive. And when Jesus rose from the dead. And here's the tomb right here. My cat Lucky, he will be my assistant. First, we're going to read Jesus' last meal with his disciples. Jesus shares his last meals with his friends. Jesus wanted to celebrate Passover and share a meal with his disciples so he could say goodbye. By that time, many people looked up to Jesus as a great leader. This made some of the priests. What does that say? Priests and the Roman rulers very jealous. Jesus knew that they wanted to arrest him and that his life was in danger. Jesus knew it was time for him to return to his Father. As they all sat around the table, he picked up a loaf of bread. After thanking God, Jesus broke the bread and passed a piece to each of them. This bread is my body, he said. Then he took a cup of wine. Again, he thanked God and passed it around to his friends. Here's the picture in the book. This is my blood, he said. I am pouring it out for you. Whenever you break bread and drink wine like this, remember me and remember that someday God's dream of everyone sharing and caring, loving and laughing will come true. Dear God, thank you for making me part of your dream. After Jesus' Last Supper with his disciples, they went out to the Garden of Gethsemane. Jesus stayed awake, praying alone. Suddenly, soldiers surrounded them. They wanted to arrest them and arrested Jesus. They accused him of trying to become king. At his trial, the Roman ruler, what does that say? Pontius Pilate asked, "Are you the king of the Jews?" "My kingdom is not of this world," answered Jesus. "Set him free," said Pilate. "This man has done nothing wrong." But some people were angry. "He called himself a king," they shouted. "Crucify him." To please the crowd, Pilate ordered the soldiers to beat Jesus and then to kill him. They whipped him and made fun of him, pretending he was a king. They put a crown of thorns on his head and a red cloak around him. Then they made him carry a heavy wooden cross to a hill outside the city. They nailed Jesus to the cross. His mother, Mary, and several other women wept at his feet and stayed with him until the very end. Then Jesus prayed to God one last time before he died. Father, forgive them, for they do not understand your dream." Here's the picture. Okay, now here's what it says. Dear God, help me to forgive just as Jesus forgave. 2 days after Jesus died, Mary and several other women went to the tomb where he had been buried. They were shocked to see that the stone that had covered the opening had been rolled away. Then looked inside. Jesus' body was gone. 2 angels in dazzling clothes said, "Why are you looking for Jesus here? Jesus is alive. Go tell the others." The women rushed to tell the disciples. At first, no one believed them. A little while later, the disciples gathered to talk around about what had happened. Suddenly, Jesus stood right in front of them. Peace be with you," Jesus said. The disciples were so frightened they clutched each other and trembled. But Jesus said, "Don't be afraid. It is me. Look at my hands and feet. Touch me." But they could still not believe that Jesus was alive. "Give me a piece of," what do you think it should be? "Give me a piece of pizza," said Jesus. He took the pizza and ate it, and his followers were convinced. Jesus really was alive and back with them again. They were so happy they laughed and clapped their hands in joy. Dear God, help me to see that Jesus lives. Here's the end of the story of Jesus on the cross. The good news, Jesus stayed with his friends and spoke to them about all the things that had happened to him. He reminded them of the old stories about how the prophets had promised that God would send his son to help God's dream come true. And the good news of God's dream should be baptized. In a few days, you, my friends, will be baptized with the Holy Spirit. He then stretched out his hands and blessed them, saying, I will be with you always to the end of time. A cloud came from heaven, and Jesus disappeared. The disciples stared up into the sky, looking for him. 2 men in robes appeared. Why are you looking into heaven? They said. Jesus is not far away. He will always be close to you, even though you cannot see him. And one day he will return in the same way that he left you. The disciples went home singing praises to God. Dear God, help me to know that Jesus is near. Lucky enjoyed the story. Oh, did you? What are they doing over here? What are they doing? I've been waiting to be played with. Wow, look at those decorations. I wonder what they're doing. Let me go sneak up. I'm gonna hide behind here. Gonna read the most important part of the story. Isabel, is that you? Yep. Okay, well, we're gonna read a story, so you can sit over here. My mom while she reads this book, the important part of the story.
God's dream will come true. The promise of a new earth. Revelation 21 through 22. When the disciple John was very old, God sent him dreams and visions. He saw that there would be wars and famines and floods and terrible disasters. But God told John, soon I will make a new heaven and a new earth. Then every tear will be wiped away, and I will be with my people, and they will be with me, and everyone will live in peace and joy. God showed John a vision of this holy place. It glittered with gold and precious stones, and the sky was so bright that there was no need for the sun or moon to give light. From this place, God said, will flow the rivers of life, and from it I will give the water of life to everyone who is thirsty. On either side of the river will be the tree of life, and the leaves of the tree are for the healing of the nations. You are my children. You are all brothers and sisters together, my family. Come and drink, my beloved children, from the water that gives you life, love, and joy. Dear God, help me to make your dream of a new earth come true.
Balloons!